And this is on full display right here in Arkansas. In 2023, Arkansas's leaders came together to tackle the state's toughest education challenges and passed a full-scale education revamp through the LEARNS Act. What it has already accomplished is remarkable. And by strengthening high-quality literacy instruction rooted in the science of reading and renewing a focus on academic fundamentals in every subject, Arkansas students are already showing immense progress. Since 2024, across all subjects and grade levels, academic proficiency has risen by more than 20%. That is really amazing. Kudos to all of you. And the reason for that is because Arkansas is also putting families back in the driver's seat. Through education freedom accounts, the state is empowering families to use approved education funds for tuition, homeschool curriculum, tutoring, and other services that best meet their child's unique needs. And Arkansas hasn't stopped there. Its leaders saw that 6 in 10 jobs in this state require credentials beyond a high school diploma, and that too few workers had them. Rather than accept that gap, they moved decisively to close it. Through the LEARNS Act, Arkansas is now connecting classroom instruction with internships, apprenticeships, and career and technical education in high-wage, high-growth industries, and I've been seeing that in several of the visits that I've made here in Arkansas. This is a major step toward helping students gain skills, employers gain talent, and strengthening the critical sectors this state and this great nation rely on. And that's why today, my team and I are proud to announce that we are awarding Arkansas a returning education to the state's waiver, making it the 5th state to receive this flexibility. With this waiver, Arkansas can take greater control of its federal education dollars, merging 4 separate federal funding streams into one and consolidating over $8.8 million over the next 4 years. Now state leaders will have more freedom to devote more resources to the interventions that are delivering results right here in the state of Arkansas. The waiver also empowers rural school districts to consolidate federal funding streams, just like the state, to better serve students rather than abiding by federal silos. Arkansas will also have the flexibility to support accelerated students in ways that best meet their unique needs. Arkansas now joins Iowa, Louisiana, Indiana, and Vermont in taking advantage of these flexibilities. And as we work to deliver on President Trump's mandate to restore excellence in education, we look forward to continuing to empower more states to innovate, being free from the bureaucracy and bureaucrats like me sitting in Washington, D.C. In closing, I want to thank Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Secretary Jacob Oliva, and the many Arkansas leaders who have worked with us to make this announcement possible. This waiver is not just about flexibility on paper. It is about trusting Arkansas to keep doing what it's already shown it can do. Move quickly, focus on fundamentals, empower families, and prepare students for life beyond the classroom. From the Ozarks to the Deltas to southern timberlands, the people of Arkansas have always led with hard work, ingenuity, and common sense. And with these values as your guide and even greater flexibility to put them into action, I'm excited to see what this great state will continue to achieve. Thank you, Arkansas, and congratulations on this incredible achievement.
Good afternoon. It is great to have the wonderful, incredible Secretary of Education and my good friend Linda McMahon back in Arkansas. Her repeated visits show that Arkansas is not only making its mark but leading the way nationally, and how critical and important that federal partnership is. And we thank you for continuing to come here, but more importantly for supporting our state, supporting students all over the country, and for breaking the cycle and dependency that we have seen so often. And so we are so thankful for your leadership. Our state is leading on education reform, and we are lucky to have a president and an administration who are leading right alongside us. I want to say thank you to Senator Cotton, who has done a tremendous job not only in leading in Arkansas, but leading nationally. It makes a huge difference when your state leaders and your federal delegation actually have the ability to work together, and more importantly, that we actually like each other. And we have such a great partner in Senator Cotton and Senator John Bozeman and the rest of our congressional delegation. Tom, I have to say, on Saturday, we spent the morning walking in a parade in about 100-degree weather. I think I like the air conditioning events a little bit better sometimes, but thankful for his just steadfast support and work both in Washington and here in the state. Also glad to be here with our Secretary of Education, Jacob Oliva, who does an amazing job implementing the great legislation and the policy here and has made a tremendous difference in education across Arkansas. We've got several members of the Arkansas legislature, thankful for the work that they're doing and their partnership, and a lot of the education leaders in the Hot Springs area. Also, thank you, Superintendent, for hosting us and for welcoming us here in your district today. We have some key leaders, and without all of the partnership across the board, we wouldn't be standing here touting Arkansas' success story. If I were going to write the headline of today's announcement, which I'd be happy to do if anybody would like for me to, it would be this: it's about education, not paperwork. That's what our Reclaiming Arkansas education waiver achieves. Less paperwork that our districts and our state have to provide to the federal government. Fewer tests that our students have to take, and more flexibility for our teachers so they can focus on their real job, which is educating our kids. Arkansas is proving that when you return education to the states, empower parents, and support teachers, it works. I signed Arkansas Learns 3 years ago, and it's already transforming our school system. Nearly 50,000 students are using education freedom accounts to attend the school that best fits their needs. Teacher pay has risen from $36,000 to $50,000, and we just announced the latest slate of merit pay recipients, bringing that total to 12,000 educators receiving more than $50 million in merit pay bonuses since the program's inception. We've deployed 120 literacy coaches that are now operating all across our state, including in every single D and F-rated school. A recent statewide test showed improvements across the board. Student achievement rose by more than 20% in every single subject in every single grade level since Learns was enacted. That is a huge breakthrough for the state of Arkansas. Our schools, our teachers, and students are all moving full steam ahead and taking Arkansas education to the top. The last thing they need is more burdensome requirements from the federal government to distract them from that goal. That's why what the Trump administration is doing is so important. In late May, we submitted our waiver to our federal partners to get government out of the way of student success. And today, just over 1 month later, the Secretary of Education is here in person to sign it. Thank you, Secretary McMahon. I'm sure some people are asking, what does this actually do? What does it change? In the past, districts were bogged down by all of the strings attached to federal funding. They had to submit arduous reports that weren't Arkansas specific. Now districts submit one set of reports, and every dollar can support Arkansas's work to prepare our students for enlistment, enrollment, or employment. We will continue to invest and take care of the students who need it most, and we will continue to uphold all federal requirements. This just allows us to reduce administrative cost and man hours and direct more funds toward actual classrooms. Our requirements are now more straightforward. Arkansas has set the bar high on all assessments, materials, and training. But administrators used to have to also submit paperwork to clear a lower federal set of requirements. Frankly, that's ridiculous, and this waiver will stop it. Advanced students used to have to take extra tests that did nothing but take away from that kid's time in the classroom. An 8th grader taking 9th grade math should be taking the 9th grade assessment, not the 8th grade one and the 9th grade one. This waiver will help us accelerate students beyond grade level and reduce their workload so students can get back to what's important, learning. Education leaders here in Arkansas endorsed this plan. The Director of Finance in the Fayetteville School District cheered it on, saying it keeps funding the same, but gives district the latitude to focus on student needs as opposed to red tape. The superintendent of the Benton School District says it allows the district to better meet student needs and expand opportunities. And the assistant superintendent for right here in Hot Springs said this plan represents an opportunity to address unique challenges, promote innovation, and ensure that educational outcomes remain strong. In the past, federal leaders thought they could fix America's schools through top-down directives, but that only led to more paperwork and less success. With the support of Secretary McMahon and President Trump, Arkansas is showing another way is possible. I want to again thank the Secretary for joining us in Arkansas and returning education to the states. Thank you so much for being here, and with that, I will turn it over to my great friend and colleague, Senator Cotton.
It's a pleasure to welcome Secretary McMahon back to the state of Arkansas and to be here with Governor Sanders and Secretary Oliva. I've long believed that education begins and should pretty much end with parents at home working together with teachers and their school boards to make the right decisions for their kids. And that's the exact view that President Trump and Secretary McMahon have as well. I think the only place I disagree with Secretary McMahon is calling herself a bureaucrat. In fact, she is a dynamic leader who is helping tame the bureaucracy in Washington to empower our great governor and our fantastic legislature to help lead from the front right here in Arkansas. It's hard to argue with success, from student achievement to the growing popularity of education freedom accounts to increasing teacher pay. Governor Sanders and our legislature have done an excellent job of empowering our parents, our teachers, and our school boards. I want to commend you, Governor, and our legislators. I want to thank Secretary McMahon for coming to sign this waiver, and I want to commend Secretary Oliva for his hard work making it all happen. And I will now invite him to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Cotton. I might echo some of the sentiments about what Secretary McMahon, what you have done for that agency, and it is truly transformational. I've been doing this work almost 25 years, and I can tell you, if we ever had a question or a wonder or we're stuck on something, the last people we would ever call was the Department of Education, because that meant we were getting an audit or something was going to happen, and we weren't going to admit that. But now, truly, when we're meeting on how we want to implement and do things better and better support our students in school, you're the first people we call. Your team is phenomenal. We would not be here today to reclaim education for the state of Arkansas if it wasn't for your team and your vision and support and being innovative on making this happen. When we were tasked with implementing Arkansas Learns, which was the largest, most innovative, robust approach to improving education across the state, we were able to do that successfully because we pulled teachers who were on the front line into our offices, had them have a seat around the table and said, we need to do this together, we need to do what's right, we need to support you in the classroom. When Secretary McMahon came out and said, we're looking for states that would want to have control over how they can allocate resources to support the students in them who'd be interested, we put out that same call, and that plan is a result of Arkansas leaders, many of them which are here, and teachers who knew that we can do things better. And when you talk about, even Governor Sanders early on signed an executive order, her administration said that she's tasking state agencies to eliminate bureaucracy and reduce red tape, right? We took that serious. Boy, has she ever thought about what that would do at the federal level? Like, you want to talk about bureaucracy and red tape? If you knew, if people knew what this waiver did for us, is it allows us to take a set of funding that comes chopped up in a bunch of different pieces, and instead of writing 17 different plans on how we're going to use those funds. We're basically writing plans to use funds. We can now write one plan and use those funds to support that plan, which is around improving students. So even though we talk about this as being a waiver, we're not asking for lower accountability. In fact, our plan is asking the feds to hold us to a higher level accountability. We don't want to run a state accountability system and a federal accountability system when we know our state accountability system identifies more students in schools that need additional support. We can include that in our plan. Why are you making us do separate plans? Students don't come into our classrooms based on different buckets of funding. We know what these students need. Give us the ability to give districts the ability to support and block grant and write one plan to support students, because we know we're going to see improved outcomes. So this is a big deal. This is something that was a lot of work that we're really proud of. And I think you said it well, Secretary McMahon, in your opening remarks. It's common sense. It's not hard to ask people who have to support students and improve learning, what would make things easier for you? That's what this plan is doing for us. So at this time, I think we're going to open up to see if there's any questions that we'd like to answer for anybody out there. Yeah. Do you want to answer that, Secretary? Because basically, when you talk about the three plans, it was a robust, comprehensive plan that amended our Elementary Secondary Student Success Act, a waiver, and then EdFlex authority, which allows us to identify and support students. But if you want to go into more detail on what that does.
Certainly, thank you. My name is Assistant Secretary Kirsten Baszler with U.S. Department of Education. That's exactly right. It was a comprehensive effort. So there was one waiver request, the Returning Education of the State waiver request, but at the same time, Arkansas submitted an amendment to their ESEA accountability plan, which is what Secretary Oliva said brought together the state accountability plan and the federal accountability plan. So now your local school superintendents can serve one master of accountability rather than trying to figure out which one do they chase. And then the third effort was the EdFlex authority, and it essentially gives the Education Department in Arkansas the authority to provide additional flexibility to their local school district leaders, their local superintendents, without asking permission from the Federal Department of Education. So all three of those things are occurring today.
And if I was to add to that, I think that's a big deal, especially for our small and rural district, because not having to submit a bunch of additional waivers to the feds that take up time and resource, that we're able to support our local school districts at the local level, that's going to free up resources that we're spending on compliance, right? So when we did an analysis of why this was important to us, we found that about 34 cents of every dollar we receive to support students goes back to meeting compliance. If we can reduce that, that's more dollars that we can put into supporting students in the high-impact tutoring programs, extra support, maybe hiring additional academic coaches to support teachers. So I go back to it's common sense. We've got to get rid of this double duplicative reporting. We have great leaders that know what's best for our students. Let's empower them to make those decisions.
One additional detail, I think it's important within the Returning Education of the State's waiver application, there are essentially 4 different elements. And as Secretary Oliva said, within the Returning Education of the States, there's something called the Alternative Fund Use Authority. We call it affectionately AFUA, and that will be a very big, a big change, a big opportunity for your rural school districts, and I know that's very important in Arkansas. Currently, the transferability of funds between Title IIA and Title IVA were only allowed by the small rural school achievement schools, but now it will be eligible for the rural low-income schools as well. And so that opens up the opportunity for transferability, exactly what Secretary Oliva was saying, to more of your rural school districts to reduce that bureaucracy, that red tape. And we like to say it's important to fund your plan, not plan for those individual chopped up funds that you receive. So, thank you.
Quiet group today. If I could, I want to jump in and add just 2 quick things. One, I think one of the important pieces, we've talked a lot about simplifying. One of the big things is the cost savings. It's estimated about $13 million. Funds will be opened up that are not being wasted right now on filling out reports and man hours. And so that's a significant funding stream that allows us to put more money towards students, resources, and supporting our schools in a bigger way. I also want to give a quick shout out. I know we have a number of our State Board of Education members who are here. I see a couple over here, and Ken Bragg there in the middle. If you guys don't mind just waving your hands really quickly. These guys are doing great work and just want to recognize and thank them. And I know I mentioned, we'll pause for.
We're going to keep them happy.
Yeah. Also, I mentioned that there are a number of legislators that are here. If we could get them to just raise their hands. I see several of them out there. Keith Brooks, why are you acting like you're all of a sudden not a legislator? I mean, I know sometimes it can be difficult, but you can, and Senator Davis and Representative Brooks were the lead sponsors and instrumental in Arkansas Learn's passing and in the success story, and so wanted to be sure that we recognized those key leaders. Last, but certainly not least, there's a large number of our State Department of Education team and employees that are in the room. They're doing the really hard work. Some of our legislators probably get mad when I say this, but passing the legislation was the easier, I shouldn't say easy, but easier part of LEARN's. The implementation and the execution is really the difficult part, and making sure that the schools, the teachers, the superintendents, the administration has the support they need. That is a really difficult piece, and we have an absolutely phenomenal group of people that work at the State Department of Education. If you guys could raise your hands really quickly and be recognized.
They made it happen.
Thank y'all so much. Again, want to just recognize Secretary McMahon, how thankful we are for your recognition of the work that we're doing here in our state. I know that you get asked to be in all 50 states on probably a daily basis, and the fact that you keep choosing to come back to Arkansas is something that we are so proud of, and certainly don't want to squander that, but we want you to come back anytime. You are always welcome here, and we recommend maybe the fall. It's a little less hot, and our students are filling the hallways, but we're so thankful for your great partnership and for your leadership. And Senator Cotton, thank you for everything that you're doing to help lead our state and our country. So thank y'all so much for being here today, and we will keep working hard to support our great Arkansas students. And with that, we're going to turn it over and let our two secretaries sign and actually put this waiver into practice. Thank y'all so much for being here.